Have you ever wondered why a single careless word can keep you up all night, while far bigger things sometimes pass by like a breeze? Have you ever felt that one tiny mistake, one unexpected mishap, can spark a wildfire of anger that burns up all the calm you've worked so hard to build? Sometimes an ordinary day can turn into a living hell because of a look, a remark, a misunderstanding. We come home carrying fragments of hurt, letting them scratch at our sleep and drain our life force. And yet, paradoxically, all these wounds don't really come from what happens out there. They come from within, from our minds, so fragile and easily shaken. Like grass bending in the wind. Someone once said, we don't suffer because of what happens, but because of how we react to it. It sounds simple enough, but how many of us can truly pause, watch, and choose a wise response in the heat of the moment? In truth, suffering is not our enemy. It's a mirror, reflecting our inner world more honestly than anything else. When anger flares up, it shows us we're insecure. When hurt arises, it reminds us we're still clinging too tightly. And when we lose sleep over a passing comment, it shows us our mind is still wandering out there instead of resting firmly within. So how do we stop being the blade of grass and become the mountain? How do we take away the power of a single word to shatter our peace? How do we keep a small failure from dragging us down into a storm of anger and regret? Buddhism has handed us the key for more than 2,500 years. A mountain doesn't form overnight, neither does an unshakable mind. Both must be nurtured, shaped, and trained with care and patience. You can begin with the smallest things, a mindful breath when you feel your heart start to race, a single minute of sitting quietly, just watching your emotions instead of reacting to them, a simple chant of the Buddha's name to remind you to come back to your center. These seeds, watered daily, will grow deep roots. Your mind, once soft and easily swayed, will become a steady peak no storm can topple. The winds of life will still blow, but instead of carrying you away, they'll simply pass through, like clouds drifting across a mountain summit. On this journey, you're not alone. From the Buddha's gentle teachings on impermanence, known self, and karma, to practical methods like meditation, mindfulness, and chanting, all of it is here to help you come home to the peace that's always been inside you. The Dharma journey exists to walk that path beside you. Here you'll find honest reflections, simple Zen stories, teachings that open your mind, and gentle reminders that you deserve a calm and steady heart. If you believe that true happiness doesn't come from avoiding storms, but from learning to stand firm within them, stay with us. Let every video, every story, every moment of listening be another stone laid to build your inner mountain. And if there's something on your mind tonight, share it in the comments below, like offering a lotus flower to the world. Namo Amitabha Buddha. Who knows, your words, your small prayer, may become a light for someone wandering in their own dark night. Don't forget to subscribe to the Dharma journey so that each day you have a quiet place to return to, calm and steady, like a lotus blooming in a stormy world. Amitabha Buddha. May peace reach you, like a lotus blossoming in your heart. There's an old story passed down through countless generations, like a lamp gently illuminating those who are still lost in anger and suffering. Long ago, when the Buddha was still alive, there was a man who carried deep resentment in his heart. He hated the Buddha's teachings because they challenged his long-held beliefs. and threaten what he clung to so tightly. So for 3 days straight, he went to the Buddha and stood before him, cursing him with every harsh word he could muster. On the first day, the Buddha simply sat there, his eyes calm like a still autumn lake. On the second day, the man's insults grew even sharper, his breath burning with anger, yet the Buddha remained serene, as if each word dissolved before it even reached his ears. By the third day, the man's energy had drained away with each insult. By the end, all he had left was exhaustion, and a question gnawing at him that he could no longer hold back. On the fourth day, he looked at the Buddha and asked, "Why aren't you angry with me? I've insulted you for 3 days straight. Don't you hate me? Aren't you furious?" The Buddha looked at him with gentle eyes and calmly asked, "If someone brings you a gift, but you choose not to accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" The man was stunned for a moment, then quietly replied, "It still belongs to me, because I'm the one holding it." The Buddha smiled. "Exactly so. The insults you've given me, I do not accept them, so they still belong to you." A few simple lines, but they hold a truth many never realize. We don't suffer because of what others throw at us. We suffer because we accept it, hold on to it, and let it take root inside us. An insult is just passing wind if we don't open the door to let it in. A look of contempt is just a fleeting shadow if we don't clutch it as proof of our worth. A harsh word is only sound if we don't keep replaying it as a wound. And yet, most of us do exactly the opposite. We gather these sharp fragments and keep them in our hearts, letting them prick us again and again, especially when the night is quiet. People often say they suffer because the world is cruel, because people are unkind, because gossip and harsh words cut too deep. But the truth is, what makes us suffer isn't the words themselves. It's the silent agreement within us to carry them. Think about it. If you're walking down the street and someone tries to hand you an unwanted gift, you're under no obligation to take it. But when the gift is a harsh word, an attitude, an insult, you open your heart and take it in, and worse yet, you guard it like something precious, feeding it with your time, your energy, your sleepless nights. What was once just someone else's bitterness becomes your burden. The Buddha never taught us to be cold or indifferent. He simply showed us a truth. The road to suffering or freedom begins with a choice inside. You can't shut the world's mouth. You can't stop people from insulting you. You can't hide forever to avoid gossip, but you can choose not to pick up what isn't yours to carry. Maybe you're thinking, "That's easy to say. Just ignore it." But how do I really let it go? That's true. No one becomes as calm as the Buddha after hearing this story once. But anyone can begin by seeing the truth. Insults, contempt, spite, they belong to the giver. They only become your weight when you hold them tight. Seeing that clearly is already a step toward freedom. The next step is learning to set the gift down. When someone hands you hurt, ask yourself, do I really need this? Am I required to keep it? Sometimes you can't reject it in words right away, but you can reject it by not giving it space to settle inside you. Let it drift off like a breeze, dissolve like a soap bubble. The more you cling, the deeper it roots itself. The more you let go, the faster it fades. There's no magic formula for dropping these burdens. No one else can do it for you. Each person must practice, stumble, and learn. At first, you'll still feel anger, still feel pain. But remember the story of that unwanted gift. Little by little, you'll see that your anger loses its grip. Your hurt finds no place to settle. One day, when someone throws harsh words at you, you may still feel a sting at first, but then you'll pause and ask yourself, do I really need this gift? And you may even smile. The anger won't burn you up. It'll pass through you like a gust of wind, gone before you know it. This isn't a miracle. It's a way of living, observing, and choosing. People can give you hatred, but only you decide whether to carry it. People can speak cruel words, but only you decide whether to let them take root or let them wither. Sit quietly for a moment and think about all the hurts you've clutched for years. How many ugly gifts have you kept, letting them become wounds that fester? How many careless words have stolen your sleep and eaten away your peace? You have the right to put them down anytime you see that they were never yours to begin with. And when you do, you'll feel your heart lighten, like cleaning out a dusty old room and throwing open the windows to fresh air and sunlight. When the inside is bright enough, darkness has no place to hide. When your mind is spacious enough, bitterness has nothing to cling to. And when you truly understand your power to not accept, no one can force you to bear pain that doesn't belong to you. This story of the unwanted gift is not a fairy tale to entertain you. It's a living lesson for anyone who wants to walk through anger, hurt, resentment, and come out on the other side lighter, clearer, and freer. You don't have to become anyone else. Just be fully yourself, eyes wide open to see clearly, and a heart steady enough to let go. And when you do, every insult, rumor, or harsh word remains where it began, with the one who gave it, never touching the peace you keep inside. Understand your emotions. They are not you. What are emotions, really? They're nothing more than a wave that rises in the mind, a chemical reaction that spreads through your body, a memory suddenly awakened when you're not paying attention. And yet, the moment they appear, we forget this truth. We fuse ourselves with them. I am this anger. I am this sadness. I am this weakness. But emotions are just visitors. They're not the house. Only the guests. They stay for a night, then move on. Only when we hold on to them do they become a second master in our mind, running the show, pulling the strings behind what we say, do, and think. Think back to a time you were really angry. A single comment hit right at your pride. A look made you feel small and worthless. An old story came rushing back, like an ember catching flame. In that moment, your body reacted before your mind even realized what was happening. Your face flushed hot, your heart raced, your breath turned sharp and shallow, your whole body tensed up, ready to explode. And you called the whole thing by one name. I'm angry. But if, in that exact moment, you could pause just for 10 seconds, take one deep breath, and ask, what is this, really? That anger would lose half its power. You'd see it for what it is, a surge of chemicals in your blood, an old memory jolted awake, and, if you didn't feed the flames, by replaying the insult over and over, the fire would burn out on its own. Buddhism reminds us of something simple, but so easily forgotten. Emotions are impermanent. They come and go like clouds drifting across a mountain peak. The clouds can never harm the mountain, but the mountain often mistakes itself for the clouds. We don't suffer because of anger alone. We suffer because we wrap a whole story around it. Someone says something that stings, Instead of letting it pass, you pick it up, turn it over and over. Why did they say that to me? What did I do wrong? I don't deserve this. That story feeds the feeling grows roots, spreads branches. You lie awake at night replaying it, imagining arguments that never happened, planning revenge you'll never take, and so a tiny wave becomes a storm. If you really look, you'll see. Anger is just anger. Sadness is just sadness. They don't define who you are. They don't measure your worth. They just show up to remind you there's still something inside you that wants healing, some corner still tender, still easily shaken, ... So instead of hating your anger, thank it. It shows you where you're still fragile. Instead of pushing away your sadness, greet it like an old guest. Sit down with it. Listen to what it wants to say, and instead of pretending none of it exists, have the courage to see, this emotion is not me. It's just passing through. People always say, let it go. But how do you let go of something if you don't even see what you're holding? Before you can release it, you have to see it clearly. What story are you clinging to? Is it really true the way you think it is? When you see it for what it is, just a memory, a habit of reacting, a passing cloud, you'll naturally loosen your grip. After all, no one tries to hold on to a rainstorm that's already stopped. Sometimes the best way to move through a strong emotion is to walk right through it, not run from it or fight it. Sit down, breathe slowly, feel the anger in your belly, the heat rising through your chest, the rush of your heartbeat. Just watch it. Don't label it as good or bad. Don't shame yourself with I am weak or I shouldn't feel this. Just watch it the way you'd watch a storm roll in far out at sea. And you'll see, no matter how fierce the storm, it can't hold its shape forever. No matter how dark the clouds, they can't stop the sun from rising again. Every emotion is just a guest. You are the host. Suffering begins, and you give the guest your throne. Peace returns when you remember. You are not your guests, they simply pass through you. Someone who sees emotions as passing clouds doesn't fear the storm clouds. Someone who knows anger is just chemistry doesn't let anger burn them up inside. Someone who recognizes a memory for what it is doesn't let it control the present. Start small, one long breath when you feel heat rising. One quiet question. What is this feeling trying to tell me? Is it true? One moment of sitting still, watching the river of your feelings flow by. Like sitting on the bank of a clear stream, just watching it go. Slowly, steadily, a little each day, you'll discover that beneath every wave of anger, sadness, or fear, there's always a calm, open sky waiting for you to come home. And once you reach that clear space, you'll know no emotion is strong enough to make you lose yourself. Experiment. Observe your anger. Anger often comes fast, like a match struck and flaring up in an instant. It makes you forget every bit of advice you've ever read about staying calm. All those wise words vanish, and all that's left is a fire inside, pushing you to let it out through sharp words, cold looks, slam doors, harsh silence. But what if you tried something different? Just once. Next time you feel that heat rising in your chest, try this experiment. Don't react right away. Even if your mouth wants to snap back, your fists want to clench, your eyes want to glare, pause. Place your hand on your chest. Feel your heartbeat pounding. Take a slow, deep breath in, then let it out, even slower. Quietly remind yourself, this is just a feeling. It will pass. You don't need to force the anger away. You don't have to pretend it's not there. Just look at it, like an observer watching a flame. The anger stays, but its power weakens the moment you remember it is not you. The strange thing is, most of us live as if we are our feelings. When we're angry, we become anger. When we're sad, we become sadness. When we're afraid, we are fear itself. But if you watch long enough, you'll see every emotion is just a visitor passing through. Anger, at its core, is simply chemistry. Your heart races, your face heats up, your breath quickens, your hands tighten. It's your body's ancient survival system, flaring up to protect you. But we don't stop there. We feed it a story. How dare they talk to me like that? I can't let this slide. I need to get even. And that story is the gasoline that turns a small flame into a wildfire. Try doing nothing extra. Just watch. You'll see that without fuel, the flame can't keep burning for long. Placing your hand on your chest seems simple, but it's powerful. It brings you back into your body, away from the endless loop of angry thoughts. Feeling your heartbeat reminds you your body is ready to fight, but you don't have to follow it just by watching. You slow the drumbeat down. One deep breath. It's like pouring a cup of water on the spark. One quiet phrase, "This is just a feeling. It will pass," is the rope that pulls you out of the storm. Many people think mindfulness is something far away, that you need to sit for hours on a cushion in total silence. But no, mindfulness starts in the middle of real life. One breath, one hand on your chest, one moment when you see anger, but don't obey it. That is meditation, not in some distant retreat, but in the heat of daily life, exactly where you need it most. One tiny pause can change an entire day, or, if you practice it enough, it can change your whole life. Because if you can do this with anger, you can do it with sadness, envy, fear, anxiety. All of them, every emotion is just a passing cloud. The more you watch them calmly, the less they stick around. Maybe you're thinking, what can one breath do? But remember, a tiny spark can burn down a forest, and a single drop of water can save a flower from dying. One mindful breath can hold back a sharp word that would have hurt someone you love. One hand on your chest can save a friendship, a relationship, or simply keep your peace from shattering over something small. Don't wait for your meditation cushion. Mindfulness is there when you're stuck at a red light, when you hear something that stings, when you read a text that makes your blood boil. Treat every strong emotion as a bell ringing. Look at me. Don't get swept away. And you answer by stopping, putting your hand on your chest, breathing deep, and saying, "This is just a feeling. It will pass." You can't stop the waves from coming, but you can learn to surf them. You can't banish anger from your life forever, but you can choose not to let it drive your actions. Every time you pause like this, you're doing an experiment with your own mind, and you'll discover that your mind is stronger and steadier than you ever thought, that your heart can be like a mountain, unshaken by passing storms. No one can do this for you. Only you can stop, place your hand on your chest, and breathe. But that single step, repeated enough, shows you something priceless. Peace isn't somewhere far away. It begins the moment you decide not to let anger run your life. The rule, the more you resist, the more you suffer. There's a paradox at the heart of every strong emotion. The more you try to force it away, the stronger it comes back. The harder you push it down, the harder it pushes back. The more you judge yourself for feeling it, the deeper it sinks its hooks into you. Maybe you've been angry and then scolded yourself. I'm so weak. Why can't I control my temper? Maybe you've felt sad and told yourself, what's wrong with me? Why can't I just get over it? These whispers in your head feel like self-discipline, but they're really just extra chains, tightening the very grip you wish you could break long ago. Buddhism pointed out a simple, timeless truth. The more you cling, the more you suffer. The more you fight your feelings, the more they fight back. Instead of resisting, step back and simply observe. See it clearly. This is anger. This is sadness. This is fear. That's all. No need to label it good or bad. No need to slap on the story of I'm terrible for feeling this at first. This might sound too easy or even backwards. Human instinct is to control, to shut the door on anything unpleasant. But emotions aren't doors you can lock. They're like water. The harder you try to dam them up, the more they find cracks to spill through. Picture this. You're holding a burning coal in your hand. You grip it tight, thinking you can crush it or control it if you squeeze hard enough. But the tighter you squeeze, the more it burns your skin. The coal's heat is not the problem. Your grip is. Anger is no different. Fear, sadness, regret. They only hurt when you clutch them tightly. When you let go, you don't lose your strength. You stop burning yourself. Letting go doesn't mean running away or pretending you don't feel it. It means giving up the fight inside. It means looking straight at what's there and seeing it for what it is. Not you, not your identity, just something passing through. A mindful person isn't someone who never feels anger or sorrow. There's someone who sees these feelings rise and fall without getting swept away. A peaceful person isn't peaceful because the world has stopped being chaotic. They're peaceful because they've stopped gripping the burning coal. Look at your own life. How much pain has come not from what happened, but from what you added to it. A cutting comment is just a comment, but replayed 1,000 times in your mind, it becomes a wound that never closes. A loss is just an event. But when you turn it over endlessly, blaming yourself, blaming others, it becomes a never-ending Sometimes what you need isn't another reason to criticize yourself, but a moment of stillness to really see, this feeling is rising because I'm human. I don't have to chase it away. I don't have to cling to it. I can watch it, like watching a cloud drift by. It will fade. It sounds simple, maybe too simple, but just try it once. Watch what happens to anger when you stop feeding it with stories. One moment of observing anger instead of lashing out can save a friendship or a relationship you've built over years. One quiet sit with sadness instead of covering it up with distractions can help you understand parts of yourself you've buried for too long. Buddhism doesn't ask you to become cold or numb. It asks you to see things as they are, so you can choose clearly, hold on or let go, speak or stay silent, act or simply watch. A person who can't observe their own mind will always be carried away by it. A person who can see it clearly is already free, even in the middle of the storm. This rule doesn't promise you'll stop getting angry overnight, but it does promise you a bath. Each time you face your emotions with calm attention, you know them better. You fear them less, you grip them less tightly. One day, someone might press an old button inside you, and you'll feel the familiar wave rise. But instead of gripping tighter, you let go. The burning coal falls from your hand. Your skin stops blistering. The feeling leaves your heart. Your mind opens wide like a clear sky again. And then you understand. Peace isn't about pushing the world away. It's about not letting it chain you down. Compassion, a gentle but uncheckable strength. In life, we often hear about the power of willpower, discipline, and determination. But few people talk about another kind of strength. Gentle, quiet, but incredibly enduring. Compassion for yourself. It sounds soft, but it's the foundation that keeps you from being swept away by anger, sadness, or disappointment. It's the anchor that holds you steady when life feels like it's pulling you under. Ask yourself this: what is stronger than anger? The answer is unexpected. It's compassion. Not compassion for others first, but compassion for your own heart. Have you ever felt exhausted, disappointed, then blamed yourself? Why am I so weak? Why can't I just be better, stronger, tougher? These harsh words inside you are like pouring salt into an open wound. The more you punish yourself, the longer the wound stays raw. But what if in that moment you paused, placed your hand over your heart, and whispered, "I'm hurting right now." And that's okay, just that one line. It may sound simple, but it changes everything. You're not denying your pain or shoving it down or putting on a mask of forced strength. You're admitting, "I'm hurting, but I won't beat myself up for it." Self-compassion doesn't make you weaker. It gives you a kind of quiet courage. When you stop fighting your feelings, your mind finally has space to heal and see clearly what to do next. Many people think compassion something lofty or reserved for saints and monks. But really, it starts with the smallest tasks. When you're angry, you don't curse yourself for it. When you fail, you don't tear yourself apart with cruel words. When you feel sad, you let yourself feel it without stamping a label like pathetic or not good enough. Some worrying, if I go easy on myself, won't I just stay weak forever? The truth is, no. Compassion isn't an excuse or self-pity. It's choosing to look directly at the wound and place a warm hand over it instead of picking it open with blame. The more you understand yourself, the more strength you have to stand up again. An outburst of anger without compassion can burn bridges, ruin trust, and eat you alive from the inside out. But if you can pause and remind yourself, "I'm angry because I'm hurt," and that's okay. The fire softens, you see the root, and you can choose how to respond. In truth, your anger isn't as damaging as your own harshness toward yourself. It's the constant inner criticism that wears you down day after day. Compassion is the soft armor that protects you from that hidden blade. Try it right now. Close your eyes, place your hand over your chest, and tell yourself, "I'm tired, I'm sad," and that's okay. Your breath will slow down, your heart will soften. You'll remember that beneath every crashing wave of emotion, there's a still, quiet lake inside you, waiting for you to return. Self-compassion doesn't mean you're flawless. It doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're human, and you deserve gentleness from yourself, especially when you feel raw and vulnerable. When you learn to be compassionate with yourself, it naturally spills over to others. You stop wanting to hurt people back because you know what hurt feels like. You realize forgiveness isn't so hard when your own heart isn't clenched tight with blame. Loving others isn't so impossible when you've learned to sit gently with your own scars. Sometimes you don't need another book on how to be stronger. You don't need hours of teachings or advice. You just need to stop for a moment, feel your heartbeat, and say, "I'm here, I'm hurting, but I'm okay." In that small moment, you touch a strength that's soft but unshakable. Because compassion is not something the world gives you. It's always been inside you, waiting for you to come home. Emotions, your secret teacher. Think about it this way. Every surge of anger, every wave of fear, every sting of envy or hurt, they're not here to punish you. They're not proof that you're weak or broken. They're here to teach you something you may have forgotten about yourself. Each strong emotion is like a secret teacher that shows up at the worst possible moment. When you're stressed, when you're exhausted, when your defenses are down, it's uncomfortable, inconvenient, and sometimes overwhelming. But if you have the courage to look closely, you'll see the lesson it's trying to hand you. Take anger, for example. Why do we get angry? Most people think anger is about what someone else did. But the deeper truth is that anger is a flare pointing at something you're attached to. Maybe you feel your pride is threatened. Maybe your sense of justice is wounded. Maybe someone crossed a line that protects something you cherish. When fear shows up, it's the same. Fear always asks, what are you afraid to lose? What are you trying to protect? Maybe you're afraid of losing respect. Maybe you're afraid of losing control or safety or love. The fear is rarely about the thing in front of you. It's about the part of you that clings so tightly to something you believe you can't live without. If you're willing to sit still, even for a few minutes, with that raw feeling, you'll learn more about yourself than any book or advice can teach you. Most people run away from strong feelings. We drown them in distractions, screens, noise, endless chatter, scrolling, working nonstop, or we attack them, telling ourselves, I shouldn't feel this way, I should be stronger, I should get over it. But when you push away a teacher, you lose the lesson. What if instead you turn toward it? What if you asked your anger, what are you trying to protect? What if you asked your fear, what are you so afraid to lose? It's like shining a flashlight into a dark room. Suddenly you see, oh, I'm clinging to an old story that says I always have to be right. I'm clinging to an image of myself that says I can't ever fail. I'm clinging to love from someone who can't really give it. When you see the root, you stop being a slave to the feeling. Because here's the secret. The feeling itself can't hurt you. It's the story underneath, the sticky attachment, that keeps you stuck. Your anger is trying to protect something you're holding too tightly. Your fear is trying to protect something you're terrified to let go of, but life is change. No one can hold on to everything forever. If you cling to what must change, you suffer twice, once for the loss, and again for fighting what can't be stopped. Buddhism teaches that all emotions are impermanent, but more than that, they are wise messengers if you listen. They show you where you're still gripping so hard that you bleed. They point you to the place that's asking to be softened, loosened, freed. Sometimes you'll see that your anger is really grief. or that your fear is just love afraid of being left behind, or that your jealousy is really a hunger for recognition and belonging. The moment you see the truth under the surface, the feeling loses its power to control you. Of course, this isn't easy. The mind wants to run away or fight back. But think of how you've handled the emotions in the past, pushing them away, burying them, or letting them run wild. How well has that worked? Has fighting your anger ever made it vanish? Has ignoring your fear ever brought real peace? Try a different way. When a strong emotion comes, pause. Feel it in your body, the heat, the tightness, the racing pulse. Breathe into it. Don't rush to fix it or silence it. Just ask, what are you trying to show me? Sit with the answer, even if it's uncomfortable, especially if it's uncomfortable. That's where the gold is buried. When you treat your emotions as teachers, they transform from enemies into guides. They become doorways to deeper freedom. They don't have to run your life anymore because you're no longer afraid to face them. Anger becomes insight, fear becomes wisdom, sadness becomes tenderness, and you become more alive, more awake, more whole than you ever were when you were trying to push all these feelings away. So next time anger knocks on your door, invite it to sit down. Next time fear tightens your chest, take a breath and listen to what it wants you to know. Next time sadness visits in the dark of night, let it speak, not to drown you, but to show you the soft, hidden corners you've neglected. Every emotion is a secret teacher, and the lessons they bring, they're not about how to be someone else. They're about remembering who you really are underneath all the stories, masks, and defenses. This is the quiet power of mindfulness. Not to kill your feelings, but to turn toward them, fully, gently, and ask, what are you here to teach me? Because when you see clearly what you cling to, when you see clearly what you fear losing, you're free to let go or hold on, but with open hands. And an open hand never burns the way a clenched fist does. No feeling is forever. No feeling is bigger than your awareness. In the end, your emotions are not your enemy. They're the most honest mirror you have, showing you where you're still bound and where you're ready to be free. Resilience doesn't mean you feel nothing. In the end, remember this. True resilience doesn't come from shutting off your heart. It doesn't mean you numb yourself, pretend you're above anger, sadness, or fear. It doesn't mean you force yourself to be made of stone. Real resilience is something softer and far more powerful. It's the courage to feel everything fully, without letting any of it drag you under. It's knowing how to stand still while the storm blows through you. It's the quiet strength to say, yes, this hurts, but it doesn't get to decide who I am or how I live. Many people think being strong means never breaking down, never shedding a tear, never showing a crack in your armor. But that's not strength. That's denial, and it's exhausting. The more you pretend you don't feel, the heavier the feelings get. They pile up in the dark corners of your mind, waiting for a moment of weakness to erupt. Resilience is different. It's not about building thicker walls. It's about becoming so open inside that no feeling can cage you in. A resilient person feels anger when it comes, but doesn't have to slam doors or hurl words like knives. A resilient person feels fear, but doesn't have to run or hide behind excuses. A resilient person feels sadness, but doesn't drown in it or pretend it's not there. Instead, they notice, this is anger. I see you. This is fear. I feel you. This is sadness, I hear you. And then they take a breath and choose what happens next. Freedom doesn't mean you don't feel. Freedom means you don't obey every feeling. You don't lash out just because anger demands it. You don't freeze just because fear orders you to. You don't collapse just because sorrow whispers you should give up. You stay rooted like a deep old tree. Storms bend your branches, but don't rip out your roots. Winds howl through your leaves, but don't carry you away. Your mind can feel every gust, yet your heart stays grounded, unshaken. This is why true strength is gentle. It doesn't roar or brag. It doesn't have to threaten or dominate. It just is. It's quiet, steady, patient, strong enough to feel everything, wise enough to be ruled by nothing. People think anger is strong. It looks powerful. The voice raised, the fists clenched, the eyes burning. But it's fragile. It needs fuel. The moment you stop feeding it, it burns out. What's stronger than anger? Compassion. What's stronger than fear? Understanding. What's stronger than sadness? The courage to sit with it, not to chase it away, but to let it soften you instead of harden you. If you ever doubt this, look at the ocean. A wave crashes against a rock. The wave shatters. The rock stays, but over time, it's the gentle, patient flow of water that shapes the stone, carves mountains, and makes canyons. Soft power lasts where brute force crumbles. In your own life, real resilience isn't about conquering the world outside. It's about becoming the kind of person who can sit quietly with a storm inside and choose your response instead of reacting on autopilot. It doesn't mean you'll never get angry again. You will. It doesn't mean you'll never feel afraid. You will. It doesn't mean your heart won't ache. It will, because you're alive, and life will always bring both beauty and loss. But every time you pause, notice, breathe, and choose, you're proving to yourself that no feeling owns you. You feel it fully, and still act wisely. That's true freedom. So when the world says be strong, remember, strength isn't cold. It isn't made of walls. It isn't unfeeling. Strength is the soft but steady flame inside you that says, I can feel all of this, and still stand. When you live that way, no anger can push you into hurting people you love. No fear can stop you from showing up for your own life. No sadness can drown you in old regrets. You learn to carry your joy and your pain together, like water into hands, without spilling them all over everyone else. This is the gentle power that true mindfulness grows inside you. To be fully alive, fully human, fully feeling, and yet free. To stand in the storm without losing yourself to the wind. This is resilience, not the heart of stone, but the heart of flesh that knows how to bend, how to feel, and how to rise again. If you learned something about yourself today, remember this: your emotions are like waves crashing on the shore, sometimes gentle, sometimes wild and stormy. But no matter how fierce the waves, they're only on the surface. Underneath, the ocean is always deep, still, and vast. Your mind is the same. Anger, fear, sadness, they're surface waves. Beneath them is an ocean that can't be shaken, no matter how high the waves rise. When you truly see this, you stop fearing your own feelings. You watch them swell up, break apart, and dissolve, all without drowning in them. You no longer have to fight yourself. You no longer have to force anything away. You simply breathe, watch, and smile at the waves, because you know they're not who you really are. If Buddhism gives us one priceless gift, it's this wisdom. See the waves clearly and return to the ocean within you. This returning is true freedom. No one can take it from you. So don't panic when anger shows up. Don't run when fear knocks. Sit quietly, place your hand on your heart. Take a slow breath and softly recite a Buddha's name to calm your mind. This is the path back to the calm sea inside you. Remember, you don't have to be perfect to deserve peace. You only need the courage to look honestly at yourself. No matter how many waves crash, as long as you remember the ocean within, nothing can truly sweep you away. If something in this message helps you breathe easier or see yourself more clearly, then this moment has already done its work. Don't let it stop here. Every day, return to watching your waves, breathing with them, and letting them pass. Let the Dharma, the Buddha's teachings, light your way, not as some far-off promise, but as your own living breath and awareness. If you want to keep exploring Buddhist wisdom, meditation, letting go, transforming anger, understanding fear, don't forget to subscribe to the Dharma Journey. Each talk, each story, each quiet reflection here is offered as a drop of cool water to help nourish the vast ocean inside you. And please leave a comment. When was the last time your emotions took control? How did you find your way through it before you hit pause? Take a moment to softly recite a Buddha's name in your mind, like offering a lotus bloom into the world. This small act plants a seed of peace not only in you, but in everyone who might read your words. I truly hope to hear your story, long or short. It's a gift for us all. Every time you share, you help heal yourself and send out ripples of calm for someone else who may really need it today. May you always have enough stillness to see your waves and enough courage to remember you are the ocean. Wishing you peace, strength, and a heart that stays gentle no matter how rough the sea.